Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to make some Mario Odyssey cupcakes. This is part 1 of 2, so I'll be showing you how to make 6 of these toppers. It's also a collaboration with a brilliant YouTuber and her channel is Inspire Happenings. The lady's name is Missy. She's super creative, really good at cake making, and her videos demonstrations are just phenomenal. So if you can please go and check her out and show her some love. She made that brilliant cappy cake. So to start off on this video, I'm going to show you how I made the basic background. So this is just some pale blue fondant, and using a circle cutter, I'm cutting out 12 circles. So keep on going until you've got them all, and then set them aside to dry for about 12 to 24 hours. So we'll start with Mario with his cappy on, and I've got some ivory coloured fondant here, and using a template I'm just cutting out the shape of Mario's face minus cappy, so be careful with your extremely sharp knife whilst doing this. And it's often easy to roll out your fondant and leave it for half an hour so it's slightly hardened and it doesn't create so much of a drag when you're cutting out the actual fondant, so I'd recommend doing that if you've got the time. So for the next stage, it's basically a case of sort of tracing the key features. So in this case it was the whites of the eyes, and then using little bits of fondant to stick on to show where they are, and this will continue for all parts of the eyes, the blue and the black. I then cut out the eye shape of my template and placed it back over so I could see where the little black bit of his mouth went. And you can see here I've already added the tongue, and this is his row of teeth at the top. It was incredibly fiddly and time consuming. This is a sped up video times 2, so it was quite difficult to get it all in place, as I feel like I've got massive hands, but we got there in the end. And you can see here is his trademark moustache, which is actually darker than his sideburns, so I did colour this a little more darker, and then sticking that in place. And keep referring back to your template as well, because that makes a massive difference to how it looks, because one little thing with such a well-known character can really be off-putting when you've finished it. You can tell something's wrong but you're not quite sure what it is, so use your template all the time. And his lovely bubbly nose, and then I used a fondant tool to mark in his ear. You can use the back of a butter knife, that would do that. And there's his little sideburns, just a little bit lighter. And everything I stuck down with either edible glue or water. I then just transferred that over to one of the dried blue toppers and started to create cappy. You can see here it's quite thick, this bit of fondant, and I ended up cutting it down so it was a little thinner. And as you can see, it's been placed on. I then cut out the brim of the cap, and I wanted it to be quite 3D when I placed it on. And so you can see here, when I hold it up to the actual cap, it didn't quite fit right, so I ended up cutting down some of the fondant so that I could stand it proud. But you don't see any of this when it's finished anyway, so that's okay. And I've much preferred it how that was. So it was the same process with the Cappy, just using the template to create Cappy's eyes, and using the smallest pieces of black fondant to create his pupils there. But all these little tiny details, they make such a difference to how it looks, so do persevere if you've got the time to do it. And then his cap, and then the most fiddliest part were his tiny eyebrows. Tiny little black worm there. And that was him pretty much finished. Just the finishing touches of tiny little white dots in their eyes of little catch lights, which I think really bring it to life and finish it off. So there he is, all complete. So I was quite pleased with him. I've never done something quite so small and fiddly, so that was nice. So next up was the classic cloud. That was really super simple, just balls of fondant into the shape of the cloud, then rolled out some more white fondant, placed it over the top and used a tool on my fingers just to highlight where the balls had all joined so it looked like a nice fluffy cloud, and then cutting away any excess fondant and tucking it underneath so it was nice and smooth. And then that was transferred to another blue top, and edible pen was used to do his eyes with little white dots. So nice and simple, that one, nice quick one. This was the question mark square, and again, if you can leave your fondant to dry for a little while, it'll make such a difference in trying to get square edges as well. So I'd highly recommend doing that. If not, just be super careful, or you can even put it in the fridge for 10 minutes, that helps. And then just using a fondant tool to put little dots in the edges, and then carving out the question mark with a thinner piece of white fondant. And then I just place that on with water. All the images that you can see I've drawn here, I just found them online, and just copied the images from online basically, so you can have a look at the ones you like and use them. So there's so many available. So, and then a little bit of edible glue on the back of that, and place on the blue topper. Okay, and the next one is another simple one. So it was a nice mixture of fiddly and simple ones. This is the warp pipes that you see often with the little sort of piranha plants coming out of, or Mario will go down into a secret level. So it was cutting a cylinder of green fondant in half to the shape using the drawing as a template again. And then this will be the top, but I'm also going to wrap another thinner piece of fondant around so it stood proud like the actual pipe does. The pipe top does as well. So rolled out a thin piece of green fondant and cut to shape, and again all these pieces were stuck together with water or edible glue, either will work. And then the next video was of the piranha plant. You'll see a final demo of the, or final picture of the tube later on with the plant. With that, you saw I rolled out some red fondant and I put a piece of cling film over it so that when I pushed down the piping tip it created a nice sort of rounded edge, and then cut out his piranha shaped mouth and his big white lips. And then just cut that to shape. And you can see in the background I've already created the green stalk and leaves. They're pretty self-explanatory, so I didn't put those in the demo. And then transferred that over to the green topper background with these stalk and leaves. And then it's time to add the little dots. So I just made little tiny balls of white fondant and squished them down with my fingertips, and then placed them on the piranha plant where they looked good. The great thing about Mario is it's for so many generations. I mean, it was about when I was young, so hopefully everyone will be familiar with who all these characters are. And then his tiny little white teeth. And there they are, finished. So it's when you display those, I would display those one on top of the other so that you know they make a set really. And the next one is Babom, and same technique, this time a piece of black fondant, back of a piping tip, and then I left that to dry for a little while, and then stuck it onto the blue fondant background. I made some tiny little yellow feet. And followed that with his sort of lighter top bit. So it's a little blue bit. Oh no, sorry, not the lighter top bit. The next bit was going to be the wind up bit at the back, sorry. So I cut that out of some, it was kind of like a mustardy gold fondant that I made. Didn't have a cutout for that, so that was just eyeballing really. And then it was time to do the top part of the blue lighter. Sorry about that. And the nice thing about these toppers is you can make them ahead, and they'll keep really well for your cupcakes. And his little tiny eyes and lighter wick there. Straighten him up a bit, and that's pretty much him done. Okay, so what I done at the end was just give them a quick steam so that it got rid of all the cornflour marks. And then I took my cupcakes, which these are just plain vanilla ones with some lemon buttercream for these particular ones. And I'll leave links below on how to do cupcakes and buttercream. But I thought this video was long enough with just the toppers. So I gave them a nice swirl from outside to in with an open star tip. So you'll see the little edges when you place your toppers on, and then just gently place them on top of the cupcakes. So there we are, little cloud, little piranha plant, and our question mark block, and they're ready to eat. And a little closer, swirl from outside to in. Little bomb, our tube, and Mario with his cappy. So there they all are. So if you want to see the other 6, there is a second video that I've uploaded as well, so please check that out. I hope you enjoyed it and got a few tips from that. It's the first sort of time I've done this kind of detail, and I really enjoyed it, albeit very fiddly. But again, this is a collaboration, so please do go and check out Inspire Happenings. She made this fantastic cappy cake, and she's absolutely brilliant. So go and show her how much you appreciate her too. Thanks for watching. Bye.